Hey everybody, what's up? It is your grown woman on the move, Osiris. And yes, we are at our usual beautiful location in Topanga Canyon. And today, for our guest in studio, guess who we have? This is my baby. I love her. I feel like when I met her, I saw her and I feel like I'm in love. I want her. I want her. She's so adorable. Ms. Niketa Calame, visiting us all the way from Los Angeles. She is a native of, we don't meet many native Los Angelians here. Really? Where did you, I know that your family originally came from Africa, right? They're African descent. And they were born and raised in Cal. Let us know, do you know a little bit about their journey, how they got into LA?
I want to do that ancestry swab thing so I can actually find out where. The farthest back I know is just Texas.
Oh, yeah. Well, wait a minute. That's homie, because I'm a Texas girl.
Really?
That's a homie.
My grandma's from Beaumont, Texas.
Shut up! Outside of Waco. I'm Waco.
Oh, yeah. So my grandma's from Beaumont, Texas, and she moved to LA in the 30s. And so my mom and aunts and uncles are all from LA.
That is amazing. Yeah, because I read a little bit about your background, but what I find interesting now, because you are a native of LA, did you find it or do you find it more difficult to be an actor because everything is so available here from start to finish, or did you find it much more challenging because you already know what goes on here in LA? You're not a transit coming into it.
No, I think there's a few people in my family who were in the business. So my godfather was in the business, my godsister was in the business. So when my mom found out that it was something that I wanted to do when I was younger, she just reached out to family members, really. So my first agent was actually my godsister's agent that she referred me to. So I never did the mass mailings of headshots.
Oh, wow. So you were connected from the beginning, and that's fortunate. Do you think that would have happened to you had you not been a native LA and you had to be a transit or no?
It might have taken a little longer because when I was interested, I was a kid. So it's all about what the mom knows.
6 years old, you guys. That's how young she was.
So she would have had to figure it out on her own as opposed to getting guidance. So it might have taken a little longer. But I was in a performing arts school, so there was connections that way in terms of feeding the dream.
Now, you went to Hamilton High School. Mm-hmm. Hamilton High is probably one of the best schools in Los Angeles that somebody wanting to do, theater and performing could attend. Yeah. You went from there to Santa Cruz, UC Santa Cruz, mm-hmm. and then you also, which I find intriguing, you left our wonderful States and went over to the UK.
Oh, yeah. UK.
You went over to the UK. Now, that's what I want to talk about. How was it a blow to your psyche when you got over there? Was it everything you expected? Because I noticed that a lot of the people, the actors that come from there, they have a certain kind of respect and aura that they get when they come over here. So how did that affect you mentally, emotionally, and with your career? How did it help to shape you into who you are? Well, that was at University of Exeter?
Yes. So my junior year at UC Santa Cruz, I decided to study for a year overseas. And I had went to London with my mom when I was younger. So we saw musicals and plays, and we went to Stratford-upon-Avon and saw, Shakespeare's Town and all that. So I knew it was somewhere I wanted to go besides New York to do acting. So through school is the best way because you're just automatically planted into a network. So when I got there, I would say I feel like their education system was a little more
strict,
a little more intense, and I felt like they knew more, even more about America than we knew about them, or that we knew about America. It's like a big deal for them to even graduate high school because it's just so intense. They call it their A-levels.
So high school is like their university.
Yeah, and then university is where here is like people just passing.
If you barely get out of high school.
You're passing them through the grades. Got to work on that. But so I got to do a lot of Shakespeare over there, which I didn't really do at my university back home. So that was interesting and cool. And then I got to do some of the musicals they had a Footlight Society, which was student run for the musical.
Oh, that's interesting.
But at it was called the Northcott Theater. So it was cool to see a student run production at the level that it was at. It was an interesting experience.
So let's talk from there to Ain't Misbehaving to, was it Our Land? This land where I met her. When I met her, like I said, I fell in love. I was like, okay, I want her. That kind of thing. And let's talk your theatrical performances versus your TV performances and the preparation, the difference in the preparation of the two. Because one is live, very live, like real time, and then the other is filmed, and then you do it. So what is the difference between your performances on the stage and your performances when you do your TV shows, like for instance on Timeless, where you played Carrie Thompson, who was the stepsister to Robert Johnson, who almost got murdered by the Rittenhouse agent. And homegirl, they told, I think one of his friends or somebody convinced him to go back and see you because she owned a juke joint. So let's talk about those transitions from theater to TV.
Well, I think the preparation in terms of character work is the same. I think the application and execution is a little different.
In what way?
Well, on stage, you're playing to a big house and you can afford to go bigger, as they say. Whereas TV film, I think everything's a little more condensed. The camera's right there. There's close-ups. So if you were to come in with your theater hugeness, it would just look really obscene and fake.
So it's a little bit more controlled then.
Yeah, it's a little understated. It's a lot of the thinking and the eyes and that kind of thing.
Now, Miss Producer, not only is she an actor, we found out she's a photographer. She's a producer. What is it that you cannot do? I love that you have that mindset. I can do anything. I'm already empowered. Before the Me Movement 2 movement started, we were already empowered. So how do you do all of those things and have a family life?
Well, I think that all the different things that I do are still in the same kind of genre. So mentally, it's not like I'm all over the place. So photography, I do photography. I give headshots to actors. So that's like part of my giving back. So I'm still dealing in that industry. And then with the producing, it's documentary work. So it's behind the scenes, assistant directing, producing, some camera work and production stills. So it's all related. I've always found that the side things that I do have to be related or still have to be feeding my craft, or else it'll take me away from it.
Yeah, it's too far outside of the circle of what you're doing. Now, going back to your producing and you're doing something, you are the head of some foundation.
I'm co-founder and creative director at 412 Studios.
And explain what 412 Studios is so the audience can know.
Well, 412 Studios is an impact documentary company. We focus on telling stories of impact-driven social entrepreneurs, nonprofits, people who are doing things in the world, creating impact in their communities. And we tell the how and the why and the kind of behind the story so that people in the audience can say, oh, that's how they did it. Maybe I can do it too, and inspire the audience.
So how do you find time to do all of that? When do you sleep, or do you have dinner, or do you sleep?
Believe it or not, there's a lot of downtime in between projects. So
what do you do on downtime?
So on downtime, I'm behind the camera. And the good thing about the company with the documentary company is that we're the heads, so we can schedule around our schedule. So for instance, we have a shoot coming up, and I've already blocked out those dates for other things. So when I'm looking at auditions and things, I have to just be super organized. Like, okay, well, that's going to be playing during the time where I'm shooting, so I shouldn't even audition for this.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, that's reasonable. It makes common sense. Now, in today's world of Trumpland, where everyone is an actor and everyone puts on a face, how has it affected the entertainment community and your circle of acting, or has it had any effect at all? If it does have an effect, what do you think it would be? Do you think that there are less programs offered? Do you think it's an opportunity for more people to do more together? What do you think about that? Because you're very young still, and you have a lot of life ahead of you. Where do you think it's all going in terms of the Weinsteins? I just heard Morgan Freeman's been accused of some things. How does this affect and impact the artistic community in terms of?
I see more of a direct effect in my leadership work, like when I'm going to campuses, like I go back to UC Santa Cruz almost every year, and those students facing the DACA stuff going on and worrying, are they going to be able to finish school? So I see a more direct effect in my leadership side. It's weird, though, with everything with the police brutality and everything like that. A lot of people in my community are like, well, that's been going on. It's just getting caught on camera. So for some people, it's this new thing, but for others, it's just like, oh, the rest of the world is seeing what's been happening in our community. But I do think with adversity, it brings people together to want to change or to want to work together because we have this common goal of something that we're against or over, versus it being more under the rug, where it's, my mom calls it nice nasty, where you're not quite sure if that was racist, you're not quite sure, but when it's in your face, it's like, okay, that's what it is, let's call it what it is, what are we going to do to fix it? So in some ways, I feel like it's kind of getting people more into what's going on in policy and things, just because it's so in your face and so crazy that people want to make a change and people want to act because it's there.
Is it stricter on this? What are they doing now? Does the agent have to escort you into the bathroom? Or, I mean, how strict has it had to become because of all of these things? I mean, in a moment, you're going to have to you're going to have a security guard at the door and then a security guard to take you in, bring you out, and sit there with people. Where is all this going?
Well, I did get a notice from Screen Actors Guild saying that they were going to try to implement some guidelines, like not meeting with someone in a hotel room or not meeting with different people in certain situations. So you're not even in that kind of situation.
Shut up.
But for some people, it's like, I wouldn't meet with someone in a hotel room
anyway.
But it's good. And then there's also the inclusion where they want to have more people of color, more women behind the scenes as well as in front of the scenes. So I think there's a lot of talk of ways that on the books it can be inclusive.
Now, I know your wonderful family must just be so proud. I'm proud of you, and I'm not even part of the family. I'm just proud to see somebody with a bright, happy smile doing something. So tell us a little bit about what we can expect from you, Miss Calame.
Well, I'm
in the future, right now, present time.
I'm also a project ambassador at American Diabetes Association.
Oh, I love it.
I have type 1 diabetes. So that's been something that I've been doing for about 7 years. So August is when we just did Call to Congress, where we went to D.C. and we talked to, Kamala Harris' office, Feinstein's office, all the people in California, but it's representatives from all over the U.S. So now in August is what we call the home visits. So kind of reiterating funding for prevention programs and management programs, just to see. California is kind of like talking to the choir because we get it. So it's really helping those people in Middle America and some East Coasters, how to reach out to those people who are not on board with thinking that universal health care is needed. It's not this new thing. Everywhere else in the world does it. So
absolutely. What's going on over here?
Yeah. And then acting-wise, I'm working on updating my reel, like we talked about, for some of the new projects.
She has a great reel. I was impressed. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I loved when I was like, oh, it's little Nala. Your voice is so powerful for you to be such a small person. She's very petite. And she has this huge, sort of like Stephanie Mills used to be. Remember how Stephanie Mills was really petite, but had this big booming kind of voice, and that's what I feel you have, and I'm sure that voice still comes out in your projects, like being involved with American Diabetes. Now, how have you been able to update your community with new policies involving disease prevention, diabetes prevention. I know Patti LaBelle is huge on, bringing more awareness to these things, as well as other entertainers that have these kinds of conditions.
Well, I think because of social media, it's so much easier than it was maybe even 5 years ago in terms of spreading the word. And the American Diabetes Association has infographics and all these kind of things that they share with us that we can just put on all our social platforms. And then a lot of it is also just documenting when we're doing stuff and tagging the representatives so that they get their eyes on it, or their staff has eyes on what's going on in the community on a local level.
Wow. So I believe that our time is almost up, and we want to hear more from Miss Niketa Calame. I love saying your name. And I saw your beautiful mom on Instagram. She is just the cutest thing. Go on, mama, with your bad self. Happy 71, 72, and so on, and so on, and so on. You have a great daughter here to stay around for. So what can we expect from you? What's the latest things we can hear outside of your Diabetes One? Will we be seeing you soon in a production? What do we have that we can go to see you in the near future or in the future coming up? That means today, tomorrow, and the next week.
So as an actor, once you finish one gig, you go back to auditioning for new gigs. So right now I'm in the audition process. So everything that I'm working on like next week or whatever is behind the camera. In front of the camera, like I just had 2 auditions for a commercial. I had a callback for a Walmart commercial, daily grind.
But you do it so well, and you're so elegant, and we have certainly enjoyed having you on our show.
Make rejection your friend.
Make rejection your friend. That's a good one.
Yeah.
What is that one of yours?
Yeah, I tell young actors that I teach, make rejection your friend. All you can do is go into the room and do the best that you can do, and after that, forget about it. On to the next.
And I'm going to tell you something out there for those people that are career-minded, such as we are. It never ends. It is never over. Even when you make it to the top, you got to stay at the top. You got to be able to maintain your position at the top.
That's why they have so many things. That they got a clothing line and a commercial
like
brand and
a cologne company, this and that and the other. But we love you, and we know we're going to just see some amazing things coming out of you and your Impact documentary group, you as an actor, as a producer, as a photographer, and as somebody that's very well-rounded, because in these days and times, one must be well-rounded. Okay? So it's been a pleasure, everybody. Don't forget to watch the interview on 15 Minutes, the show on YouTube. My name's Osiris. I am your grown woman on the move. We had the pleasure today of talking to actor, producer, photographer, and don't forget, this girl is got herself together, Miss Niketa Calame. Okay, so we're going to say bye for now. See you next time. Say bye, bye, bye. Go to YouTube. You know you want to.